What's going on, guys? Mecha Ish here from the Spider-Man Legends Sandman Build-A-Figure Wave. I have the Green Goblin. Let's do it.
138 in progress. Prepare for launch in 3, 2.
Step out of your world and step into mine.
Welcome back to another Marvel Legends action figure review, and I have the Green Goblin, a classic Spider-Man villain right out of the Spider-Man Legends Sandman Build-A-Figure Wave. Now, this is Hasbro's take on the Green Goblin action figure, and it looks very cool. Now, he comes in your standard window box packaging with the Legends series logo, a nice window view of the Green Goblin, and take a look at those two heads of Sandman. You got a pumpkin bomb, of course you have his glider, Marvel, Spider-Man, Green Goblin. Here at the top you have the Spider-Man emblem, and you have Build-A-Figure, Marvel Sandman. Both sides of the packaging have this wicked looking artwork of the Green Goblin. You got the Marvel Legends series logo on the top left, and it says, "A cackling menace aided by advanced technology, Green Goblin seeks to destroy Spider-Man in the pursuit of ultimate power." And here at the bottom, you have the entire lineup needed to build this Sandman Build-A-Figure. Alright, let's take the Green Goblin outside of this box, and let's see what he's all about. Here is the Green Goblin outside of his packaging, and even though his ears on my figure are a little bit warped, he stands a little over 6¼ inches in height. Now, besides the head sculpt and of course the color scheme, this is a very big reuse of that Hobgoblin body we saw in the last Spider-Man Legends wave. Of course, he has his satchel on, he has his pumpkin bomb, his glider, and he has those two alternate heads of that amazing looking Sandman Build-A-Figure. Alright, let's take a closer look at the Green Goblin. Alright, so I already mentioned that this body mold is what we've seen before with the Hobgoblin, but it looks amazing. I really love all that metallic green sheen going on with the arms and the legs, and you have the same sculpted gloves, same sculpted upper torso, same sculpted legs and cuffs there that we saw with the Hobgoblin as well. Love all of the scaly details going throughout his extremities as well, and just take a look at all that shine. That looks awesome. Now, Norman Osborn or whoever decides to wear the Green Goblin outfit is usually not that muscular. They're not super jacked like some other heroes and villains in the Marvel Universe, so I think this body mold is perfect. Now, you can see the soft musculature sculpted in at the top of his back going all the way down to his bottom, but then you see some nice wrinkles sculpted in as well. Especially you can see it here at the front where his chest is sculpted nicely, his abs are sculpted nicely, but then you have the wrinkles sculpted in to make it look like there is somebody underneath this leotard. But Hasbro has really given us a crazy looking head sculpt with this Green Goblin, which I think is so apropos to this classic villain. You have this nice sculpted edition of this headpiece, which has some softer plastic being used here at the little straps by his chin, which make it look like it is flowing in the wind when he's on his glider. And I love the layer there. You can see how it's sculpted on top. You got some wrinkles sculpted in as well. Makes room for those big ears of his, and just take a look at all of that detail going to the end of that hood. Now, as I mentioned, the ears on my Goblin did get warped in the packaging. As you can see, it is rounded out over his head, but they did do a great job sculpting it, and I could fix that up later with a little hot and cold water. You see some nice detailing there on the inside of his ear going all the way to the tippy top. Hasbro has given us some crazy detailing in the face sculpt. I mean, take a look at this sick expression that the Goblin is giving off. You have those wide open yellow eyes. The yellow is all nicely painted within the sculpt, and then at the center you have that fiery orange with the black pinpoint pupil. I love the shadowing effect that they're giving right in those deep sockets with that darker shade of green right around the eyes. And then of course you have the sculpted eyebrows, which are nicely done. You got the wrinkles and ridges up the forehead right underneath that headdress, and then those cheekbones look sick. Take a look at that. You got his evil grin, all of his teeth nice and yellow, all painted well within the sculpt. I mean, and of course his chin is protruding outward, as is his nose. And that darker green being used for his face and his neck have a little bit of a glossy finish, which is a nice touch. And then of course you have the nice separation between all of that green on his face and his ears and the purple of his headdress. I mean, this is a very awesome, well-represented look for the Green Goblin. Now, if the Green Goblin wasn't making enough of a fashion statement, he also has this man purse or satchel, whatever you want to call it, but it holds all of his devious devices, including his pumpkin bomb. Now, this is the same mold and sculpt that we saw with the Hobgoblin, but this time around it is done in that lavender, which looks very cool, and it breaks up all of that dark purple. You have the nice application of the gold paint at the buckles, and then you have all that etched in detail around the shoulder portion. You can see how form-fitting this is. All the way around, you see some line work going down. You even have some stitch work at the ends, at the sides, and even across the outline of the flap. And of course, the satchel is removable, so you can give it to some other characters, maybe some of the females in the Marvel Universe. Now, going down his torso, you can see this separate piece that is his belt, which I wish they would have sculpted a little bit better. I mean, you do have that nice golden paint application there at the center, but you do see the seam at the middle, so it doesn't look very realistic. And then for all of the lavender pieces, I do like that the paint matches with the satchel, but as you can see, unlike unlike the satchel, it does not have any etched in detail to make it look more realistic. Now he does come with only one pumpkin bomb accessory, but I think the sculpt of this pumpkin is awesome. Take a look at it all the way around. I love the sculpt of that sinister looking mouth and all of that nice bright green done nicely within the sculpt. And then of course at the top of the pumpkin, you have that fiery looking green as well. And of course we get to the Green Goblin's glider, which is all done in a gray molded plastic. It kind of has that marbleized effect as we saw with some of the older Iron Man figures and older Legends figures that are trying to be metallic looking, but I really wish they would have added some paint to it. I mean, there is no paint whatsoever on this thing, but it does have a nice looking sculpt to it, especially here at the front, which is different than the Hobgoblin. And now we get to articulation. We do have the head on a ball joint, so you can't rotate all the way around. Of course, we have that hinge, which allows for great extension looking upward. Check that out. And then he can go all the way down as well. I mean, you saw how big that hinge is. Take a look at that. We do have a rotation at these tight joints, almost like a ratchety joint going all the way around. We do have a little bit of extension. Now this is the same thing with Hobgoblin. Because of these big shoulders, it's going to be limited range of motion, and I feel bad for the plastic here because I'm mashing it right into the upper torso and it's going to stress out the plastic, so be very careful. And that's about as much of extension you're going to get laterally as you can. We have a bicep swivel, and we also have a double jointed elbow. Now this is a separate piece on top of his forearm that is able to rotate around the forearm, but it does not do anything for arm articulation. But of course you do have the wrist swivel and a hinge articulation. We do have an ab crunch, but we have limited flexion going downward, but we can arch his back a great amount. We have a nice waist swivel, and as you can see, the belt does not get in the way. Now like with most Legends, because of these hip joints, we have limited range of motion of his leg going back. He can go up to the side just a little bit. We have the same kind of effect as we did with his shoulders, with all of that thick extra sculpted plastic blocking right into the side, so you have limited lateral movement, but we can kick up to the front a great amount. We have a nice thigh cut rotation, double jointed knees, a boot cut rotation, and we have a hinge going downward, upward, and of course we have the ankle rocker rotation. Now even though he has his glider, we also have two peg holes at his feet if you have trouble standing him. So there you have it, guys, my video review of Hasbro's take on the Green Goblin from the Spider-Man Legends Sandman Build-A-Figure wave. Happy to have another classic version to add to the Marvel Legends collection. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a thumbs up and check out my channel for other reviews I've done. And I have so many cool things coming your way, so make sure you all like, subscribe, comment, and share. You know what to do. Peace.